with that, we bring in retired four-star General Jack Keane, Fox News senior strategic analyst, former Army Vice Chief of Staff, and now chairman of the Institute for the Study of War. General, good to have you with us. Jennifer and Jonathan have laid out what they're learning from the Pentagon and from the Israeli sources on the ground. Where does this stand right now in terms of your take on what's going on in the Strait and this ceasefire, General?
Well, certainly we're moving into a different aspect of this, with the ceasefire. I do think the violations of the ceasefire in terms of firing into Israel or at U.S. bases, some of that will just sort it out in the next 48 hours. But we gave up using military operations as a leverage to get a deal here by making a ceasefire. It doesn't mean, Martha, that we don't still have leverage, because we truly do. And that leverage is making certain that the Iranians understand this is a 2-week deadline and a 2-week deadline only. And if you don't accept our conditions that we're putting forward in Islamabad, and we can't get a deal in 2 weeks, then we are absolutely going to return to combat operations. That is real leverage. And what the Iranians are going to be about in those negotiations, because it is predictable. It's like dealing with Putin. The Iranians here are going to want to delay and extend the negotiations and convince our negotiators that they really are close to making a deal, but we need a little bit more time. Then what happens? Let's extend the ceasefire another week or two, and maybe a little bit further than that when we get closer to the deal. What are the Iranians up to in doing this? What they truly want is as much time as possible to delay, to let the recovery of oil prices, the recovery of the political system itself, and take the pressure off of the president that certainly, understandably, he feels. So his inclination after several weeks of not making any progress, he's not willing to go back to and return to combat operations. That, I believe, is the path that the Iranians are on. If they're on the other path and they're willing to give up the conditions and meet the conditions that President Trump's team is laying down, all for the better. I'm just highly skeptical about them. This much I know. One, we have severely damaged Iran, and they are in a much weakened condition, to be sure. And our military people have laid that out in spades to that damage. But they're still in charge, and believe me, Vahidi, the IRGC leader, and Gallup, the Speaker of the Parliament, they are hardliners as much as anybody else who's been in charge of Iran. And that is why this ceasefire is taking place, because they knew full well that the only objective they had in closing the Straits of Hormuz was to stop the war. And they have achieved that. But the reality is, if they're truly willing to make a deal here, that is another matter, because I know this: President Trump is not going to make a bad deal. He knows these guys. He's negotiated with them more than any previous president has, and he knows they're full of BS at times. They're going to obfuscate. They're going to promote lies, and our team obviously has to be aware of all of that going into it. I'm assuming that they understand that. The backstop we have here is the president himself. Yeah. He's not going to take a bad deal. If we return to combat operations, so our audience understands, we do have an ace in the hole here, so to speak. We do have a strategic asset that we can put to employ here, and that is Carg Island. Carg Island, we can wait to the very end of our operations and take control of it or destroy it. If we take control of it, we can use it as leverage with the Iranians. 90% of their oil distribution comes from Carg Island. The first thing we would say to them is, you have to give up all of your nuclear enterprise to us. You have to hand it over. The enriched uranium, what centrifuges you got left, what cascades you got left, the same deal that Bush imposed on Gaddafi when we went in and dismembered and took away the program, and other things we can use Carg Island for. If you don't do that, then we're going to destroy 90% of your oil distribution. That would likely collapse the regime in terms of its economic capability. It would cause an economic collapse. So we still have leverage here, is what my point is, Martha.
I understand. And I heard your points earlier as well, that we gave up some leverage with this ceasefire, but that Cargo Island remains a source of leverage. What did you think, just very quickly, General, if you can, about this toll? The United States, the president saying, well, we would also get some of the money in tolls of the ships going through the Strait of Hormuz. We have some numbers here. Potential profit from Tehran toll for Iran could potentially yield them $100 billion a year in tolls to Iran if we allow them to do that. Quick thought on that, if you can, General. Thank you.
Well, Iran imposing those tolls clearly in violation of the Sea of Law. This is not Egypt, where they have a toll or a fee because it's Egypt land that the Suez Canal is on. It's not Panama, the same thing. Panama's land. This is international transit waterway.
That's right.
And you're prohibited from doing just that. And we should force the Iranians to knock that off, in my judgment.
All right. We'll see. The president says he might want a piece of that cost to go through. And obviously, these negotiations are just beginning on Saturday in Pakistan, the next round. General, thank you very much.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube, and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.